Hey guys, it's welcome back to the Mayflower Girls. It's me, Hadley, and me, Emerson. And before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe.
Hey guys, I am Kathy. I am Emerson's mom, and today they have asked me to join in on their little YouTube video. Emerson wanted to take a moment to kind of talk with you guys about the tics that she has. We call it Tourette's for a little bit of ease sake. She does not technically have Tourette's. She has what you call a complex tic disorder. And so most of the time, a lot of people are just very curious as to what that means. And so just to kind of sum it up, sometimes we end up calling it Tourette's just for the ease of the conversation. So they have asked me in today, and I'm just kind of going to guide the conversation between them. And we are going to go ahead and get started. Alrighty. Also, as we go along, if you guys have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, anything like that, always make sure you guys can put comments down there in the bottom. So, Emerson, let's see. What is the first thing that you remember about ever having tics?
Well, I went to a football game with my mom, and I got really nervous because it was really loud, and like I like loud music, but I don't like it. Makes me nervous, and so I started stutter walking and stutter stopping, or is that what it's called?
Well, you just call it whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
So the first time we noticed she had any type of tics was probably about 3 years ago, which they say is a very common age to when tics first start. And the first tic that she had was she would walk and then kind of shuffle her feet along, and then walk and then shuffle her feet along, and then continue to do that. So we didn't realize at first that it was tic related. We thought that maybe she was just nervous, or I thought she just kind of playing around. And then I started noticing that during times of high anxiety or high stress that these tics would start to come. And then as she got a little bit older, you start to notice it's heightened emotion. So it's not just because she's nervous or anxious. Sometimes it's pure excitement. Yes. And so it took us probably about 1.5 years. It was a journey to kind of get her diagnosed with it. And so one doctor, for ease of sake, has said she basically has Tourette's. Tourette's is where you have at least one motor tic and then a vocal tic. And Emerson does not have any vocal tics. However, she does have multiple physical tics. And so if you guys ever see some of the videos, sometimes one of the common tics that she does right now is she kind of whips her head back. Yeah, it's like a little mini whiplash. Mm-hmm. So we have her on medication right now to help monitor it and to help guide it. The good thing is that as she gets older, typically about 18 years of age, the tics should settle down quite a bit. And at that age, usually you're a little bit more in control of your body and your emotions, and we can make the decision as we approach that age. Does she want to be weaned off of medicine, or does she want to kind of keep on going as it is? So one of the reasons that we wanted Hadley here is because we are all family. We've been doing this journey together, and sometimes we know what it's like from our viewpoint, but then sometimes you want to see what it's like from maybe a sister's viewpoint. And so Hadley, like, what are your thoughts about it?
I mean, it's pretty normal, except for like when people stare, and it kind of makes me uncomfortable because people just stare at her, and I feel bad for her, and also it just makes everyone else uncomfortable to see your sister getting stared at every day. When she just keeps on doing that, and then they just don't stop. And so I'd rather them ask a question than stare.
Yes.
A lot.
Emerson, how does it make you feel when people just stop and stare at you?
It kind of makes me uncomfortable, and it makes me sad that I'd rather them ask a question and like say like, hey, what's up, and say like, what are you doing? I'd rather talk to them than just stare at me. It makes me uncomfortable and kind of sad.
So if you guys ever see somebody that looks different, acts different, the person with that issue would rather you come ask a question and come get educated. As long as you phrase it nicely, most of the time you're never going to hurt their feelings. For us, it was a big concern. The tick that she had that was driving started hurting her neck quite a bit. And so just being worried about other ticks you can hide and it's not a big deal. This one was becoming very noticeable at school and she was in chronic pain. The ticks during the high point of them were probably 100 times a day, which that is quite a bit. And then now I'm going to say 5 to 10 times a day, which is a huge, huge improvement. You have to give advice to somebody. You are a third party to this situation about Emerson having tics. And so once again, guys, tics are emotion that your body cannot control. So if you had to give advice to somebody that didn't know much about it, what words of wisdom or words of advice would you give them?
They're normal, just like everyone else, and just to ask questions instead of stare and make them feel like they're not normal or that they're not the same, and make them feel sad.
Emerson, what words of advice would you like to give people?
Basically the same, but like it kind of hurts my feelings that people just stare instead of asking questions. It's much more simple because like it hurts my feelings a lot more when you stare than just ask a question. I wouldn't mind you guys asking a question. I actually wouldn't care, but if you stare at me, then it kind of hurts me.
So one of the things that I have tried to let Emerson know is that when we empower ourselves and when we educate those around us, a lot of times it takes the taboo out of what's going on. So a lot of times it's curiosity. People don't know that they're staring. And the moment that she just says, hey guys, I've got Tourette's, or hey guys, I have tics that my body can't control, most of the time, almost immediately, kids go, oh, okay. And I've even let her know that most people, especially as we get older, we all have habits that we cannot control. We have anything from we chew on the inside of our mouth, we chew on a pencil. Some people have to lock certain things or they lock doors, or even you would call it people get superstitious about football games. So everybody has certain things in their mind that they do, and some things are just more visible than others. And what makes this what they consider a complicated tic disorder is that the fact that sometimes she will cycle through tics and sometimes she will have more than one tic at a time. And so kind of what does that mean? That means that her body does not have control over the muscle movements and the muscle actions that her body is choosing to do. And very interestingly enough, most of the tics that Emerson experiences, if you guys were to go research tic disorders or Tourette's, almost every single tic that she has is associated and very common with these disorders. And so even though we call it a disorder, she's a cheerleader. It doesn't hold her back. It doesn't affect how she thinks. It doesn't affect anything like that. More think of it if you guys ever have a little muscle spasm in your arm, or some people might tend to blink a lot. It's something that I think makes her special. It makes her a little bit different. And even though there's kind of been some hard times when people tend to stare, I've tried to encourage her and help her remember that God knew her before she was ever born. He formed her uniquely in the womb, and He put her together just this way for a purpose. And sometimes we don't always understand the purpose, but through it, it has caused so much compassion from other people. People reach out, and then I have had other parents be able to approach me and say, oh my gosh, I have this going on with my child. What advice can you give me? And so it's created some incredible opportunities. And then we've also tried to learn just some of the things that set these tics off so that we can always just monitor them. We can look at the dosage of medication that she's on and change it, and just kind of take one day at a time. And it does not ever stop our enjoyment from her. I don't think it stops her enjoyment from life or anything like that.
Hey guys, for this next part of the video, I am going to bring in my dad, Eric. And he is going to be asking us some questions.
They just support me.
So how do you support him?
Like if we're in a restaurant or something and people are staring and she wants to go talk to them, I will come with her if she wants me to, or basically just whatever she needs to talk to someone.
Okay. So examples of where you feel like you were supported or she supported you.
Well, there was about like a year or so ago, when we kind of first met, we were at a grocery store and this girl kept on staring at Emerson, and I didn't like physically do anything and I didn't physically do anything and tell her like she has tics or anything, but I did like tell Emerson I'm here with you, and I felt bad with her, and I was with her and supported with her.
Emerson, how did that make you feel?
That made me feel happy that Happy was with me. She was with me. She didn't have to be with me, but she was with me, and she didn't have to be with me.
So Emerson, how does Tourette's make you feel?
It makes me feel a little bit different from other people because it makes me feel different because in a certain way, if you hiccups all the time, it's different because no one else hiccups all the time, but you hiccup all the time. That's what I feel like sometimes.
Everyone has their different personalities, and everyone's different and does their different actions. And no matter what she thinks, she is the same, and everyone is different and does different things. What are the common tics M has?
I don't know.
Let's review.
The stutter step. The tummy tuck.
No, we call it the Heimlich. Okay.
The head flop.
So much for joining us today. We decided to take time and just kind of have a little fun with this. It's such a serious subject and a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. And so if we can make it fun most of the time in life is so serious that if you can make a little humor with something, it becomes easier to deal with. Hallie joined in with Emerson on all of the tics, just to show her sisterly support. You guys have probably noticed Emerson's real neck tic on a lot of the videos, which is quite all right. And as usual,
I'm back.
and she's back. If you guys ever have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to know more about it, just leave your questions in the comments below. We'll see you guys next time.